G'day guys, and welcome to the first of these Coaching Insider videos where I'm going to be giving you a window inside a recent coaching conversation that I've been having. I'll share with you the topic or the problem that the client brought to our 1 hour session, as well as any key concepts or tools that we used to help her navigate forwards and towards her desired outcome on that. Obviously, all coaching sessions are confidential, so everything I share will be done so anonymously. Let's jump in. So the coaching insider that I wanted to share with you this time is around identity. That was the topic that this client brought to me. And to give you a little bit of background, she came to me in this conversation as the flow on from probably 4 or 5 that we'd had prior. And given that, this client had a really solid understanding of the 3 foundations that are required to create change, being personal responsibility, understanding her resistance intimately, and understanding and practicing emotional awareness as well. And as a flow-on effect of using those skills, she came to this space in her growth, or this challenge of what does my identity now look like without this problem? Yeah, so she'd been working on the problem of physical pain and fatigue. And the questions that were popping up as she moved away from that and towards where she wanted to go were exactly that. Who am I without this problem? What's important to me? What do I like doing? What's my purpose in life? What's my purpose in this next chapter of growth? Which is such a high quality and brilliant question to be asking of yourself, because that gap is very real whenever we're creating change in our life. So the topic that we covered and the tools that I'll teach you in this video now was around values. And if you haven't heard of values or used them before, it's basically just what's important to us. Yeah, what's important to you in a certain area of life. And when you get really specific and really clear on what that is, it'll generally be narrowed down to one word or 2 to 3 words to describe that thing that's really important to you. And I'm going to give you some examples as we move through. So the starting point for understanding this is knowing what are the different areas in our life, so that then we can identify what's important to us in each of those different areas of our life. So grab a pen and paper if you don't have one, hit pause if you need to, and I'll start running you through that now. So, area 1 is relationships, which includes the relationship with yourself as well as with others. Number 2 is our health and well-being. Number 3 is career and purpose, and or purpose, I should say. So if you have a career, you need to look at that and purpose, but if you're not working, then it will just be purpose for you in this category, or perhaps where you would like to start or recommence your career or business area of life. There is also money and play. Okay, so they're the 5 different key areas that I would encourage you to explore and to address. Now, the next thing that you want to do once you've written down those 5 areas is work with one at a time on the next steps that I'm going to take you through. So let's say you're first working with relationships. What you want to do is ask yourself the question, what's important to me about relationships? Yeah. And what you'll find is some answers will begin to come up. And I definitely encourage you to listen to the ones that feel logical and reasonable, as well as the ones that might feel like have just come left of center and don't make too much sense. Because this is a process of connecting with the unconscious or the subconscious mind, as well as your conscious, more logical thinking. And as you begin to write all those things down, you might find that you empty out a bit or start to draw a blank. Just invite yourself by asking, what else? What else is important to me about this area of my life? And I mentioned before, when you get really clear and specific, it will come up as sort of 1-word answers or 2 to 3 word answers at most. So I'll give you some examples on that too. So for me, some of the things that are important to me in relationships are connection, communication, respect and honesty, and health is something that's really important to me in relationships too. So they're the things that I would write down. Keep going until you empty out, And then once that is the case, you want to move on to the next step, which is identifying, of all the things that you've got written down there on that page, what are the top 3 most important? Now, that's not to suggest that anything outside of that top 3 isn't also important to you, but for this to be a functional tool for you to use in your life, the top 3 are the easiest to have, on recall, for it to actually have an impact in how you're living your life. So go through and see what you come up with as the top 3. A hint that I will give you here is what you might look for are the umbrella words. So an example for me in relationships, connection is an umbrella word because underneath that word, it means many other things to me. So it means authenticity. It means respect and honesty. It means a willingness to share vulnerability. It means shared values and a balanced energy exchange in relationships. But that one word connection, I know within me means all of those things. And that's the only thing that's important. I don't then need to have a list of all those other things as well, because connection's the key word there for me. Cool. Once you've done that second step, you want to move on to the third step, which is asking yourself for each of those individual top 3 values in one area of your life. So when you go through and do this for every area, all of the 5 areas, you'll end up with 15 different values. So for each individual value, you want to ask yourself this question: what is important to me about, why is that important to me? So you've already asked yourself what is important to me about relationships, and you've gotten those values. Then with each individual value, why is that important to me? So why is connection important to me? Why is communication important to me? And then again, invite yourself to go deeper by, after the first answer, ask yourself again, why else? Why else? And this requires a really high level of willingness to be honest with yourself, to hear the true answers. And what you're essentially checking for here is the motivation behind why something is important to you. So for me, I'd be checking the motivation behind why connection is important to me. And what that will show me from the language or the answers that comes up is this answer moving me towards where I want to go? Is it focused on what I do want? Or is it moving me away from where I want to go? Is it focused on what I don't want? It will also help you to detect whether or not this value is being derived from within you or from something or someone outside of you. Yeah. So that's a really important step in this process too. And you will uncover information and you'll understand yourself at a more intimate level for doing that, and then also be able to decide, is that a value that I actually want to continue with? Or the way that I'm expressing or using that value in my life right now, do I want to switch that up so it is more towards what I want, it is focused on what I do want, and it is for me, from me? Okay? And then the last step that you want to do is have those values visual so that you can learn them, they can be front of mind. And what actually happens then, and this links back to the purpose of identity, is life becomes an experience, metaphorically, of looking through this window where life is passing you by. There's opportunities, there's people, there's places. All these events are occurring. Some of them we'd label good, others we'd label bad, hard, challenging, joyful, inspiring, fulfilling. But whatever is crossing our path via that window, or crossing our vision via that window, we then have our values stuck up on the wall beside that window. And what we can do is, whenever we're about to make decisions, or whenever we're making choices for ourselves in different areas of our lives, we can draw on what we've already identified as clearly important to us and cross-reference that with the decisions that we're making and the direction we're taking our life in. Does this relationship represent communication and connection and health? Okay, it doesn't. That might be something that I'm going to decide I'm okay allowing to continue to pass me by. okay, I'm really interested in attracting in some more relationships that are aligned with my values of connection, communication, and health. Given they're my values, what sorts of environments could I expect to meet people that share those values as well? Could it be a gym or a yoga studio? Yeah. So you can see how you can go from this space of feeling like, oh, who am I without this problem? What is my purpose in life without this problem? To having these guiding values to make decisions, to make choices about which direction you'd like to shift your life in. So to go back to this client, one of the examples was she realized that a lot of her conversations and research and time had been spent around understanding her problem, which is still proactive, right? But the focus of that energy spend and investment is still on the problem. So if she wanted to shift conversations and research or reading or podcasts or whatever it is to something else, how does she identify what that would look like for her as something she would find enjoyable and purposeful and fulfilling? And uncovering her values allows her to do that, okay? So that's today's Coaching Insider. I'd love to hear what you come up with as your values, or if you have any questions, please let me know. Comment below this video, or you can also send me an email to gemma@gemmahanley.com. And I will speak to you guys soon. Bye.